On the 26th of November 2008, Pakistan-sponsored terrorists invaded Mumbai and carried out what we now know as the 26/11 terror attacks. 175 people of different nationalities, but mostly Indian, were killed. The terrorists were finally eliminated. Ajmal Amir Kasab was later hanged. But the people who orchestrated that terror attack were obviously not sitting in Mumbai. They were sitting in Pakistan. Among them, a person who was considered the hands-on mastermind, not just the architect, but the person who was actually pulling the strings and directing the terror attack as it took place, was a Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist called Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi. I know that name sounds familiar to you if you've been tracking coverage of that terror attack all those years ago. Well, cut forward many years from 26/11 to the present day, and I will tell you what you're looking at in these particular pictures that you see on my screen. Pakistan wants the Indian cricket team to play the ICC Champions Trophy in Lahore, Rawalpindi and other places in Pakistan. India has said, we will not send our team to Pakistan, citing Pakistan's terror track record and safety concerns. The ICC and Team India players have unanimously backed India's decision, but there's been a big meltdown over this in Pakistan. But here's the thing, viewer. While Pakistan wants India to play in its country, it continues to provide shelter to terrorists. And it's not just our opinion. We have visual evidence now in what you're going to see as part of an India Today national exclusive. We now expose the truth about Pakistan, the dirty truth that everyone knows about, but very few actually see as evidence. And now we're confident to bring that to you as part of this explosive news break. It continues to bat for terrorists, and that's only scratching the surface, because a man considered to be a mastermind of 26/11 is roaming freely in Lahore, in Rawalpindi, very close to the places where the Indian team would have been playing if India had chosen to send them. Ankit Kumar and Arvind Ojha with this world exclusive.
Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi, Chief Military Commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba, the mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Once jailed by a Pakistani court, Lakhvi now freely roams the streets of Lahore and Rawalpindi, two of the three cities set to host the Indian cricket team. Lakhvi, listed by the Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee of the United Nations Security Council, has since adopted the alias Abu Wasi. A recent video circulated on social media shows a bearded man participating in a supervised fitness test, with claims suggesting it was Lakhvi himself. The India Today open source investigation team confirmed the identity using 3 facial recognition programs, verifying that the man in the footage was indeed the wanted terrorist. Also present in the footage was Dr. Zaid Harris, who describes himself as an Islamic scholar and is frequently featured in videos discussing religious and humanitarian values. The trainer supervising was identified as Syed Muhammad, who boasts the title of former Mr. Pakistan on his social media. Both Saeed and Harris were seen cheering for Lakhvi during the exercise in the video first circulated by Pro-LET account. When contacted, Muhammad claimed he was unaware of the identity of the individual undergoing the fitness test, referring to it as a family event from the early days of COVID. However, this assertion proved false. According to official records, Lakhvi was born on December 30th, 1960, making him 63-year-old in 2024, and not during early COVID days as he claimed. Both Muhammad and Harris have shared photos on their social media that appear to show them interacting with Pakistani military officials. Months after the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, The UNSC's ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee added Lakhvi to its list. The US, India and various European nations have sanctioned him for his terrorist activities. US officials have confirmed Lakhvi's close ties with Al-Qaeda and his oversight of operations beyond Pakistan's borders. According to intelligence sources, Lakhvi has residences in Rawalpindi, Lahore and Okara, where he moves freely. The terror commander was convicted in a terror finance case by a Pakistan court at a time when Pakistan was staring at being blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force. Sources have told India Today that the dreaded terrorist arrest was just a media eyewash. With Arvind Ojha and Ankit Kumar, Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to bring in India's most well-respected and highly regarded Pakistan watcher, senior fellow with the Observer Research Foundation, Sushant Sareen, in on this story. Sushant, you've seen these pictures. I know you're not surprised when you see them. You know, we've talked about Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi and Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists who've been responsible for 2611 now for the better part of 15 years on television. You know, we've threadbare discussed the dossiers, Pakistan's intent, etc. But what do you make of this, Sushant?
Yeah, you're right, Shiv. I'm not at all surprised. In fact, even when Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi had been put in jail, he was merrily procreating while he was in jail. So, even that was not denied to him. So, now that he's become a fitness trainer and a fitness guru of sorts, it's not surprising. The Pakistanis will turn around and say, well, we've rehabilitated him. And from a terrorist, we made him into a fitness guru. That's the Pakistani disingenuity which always comes out. But look, I think I'm pretty happy that the government of India has decided not to take a risk with the Indian cricket team, notwithstanding all the nonsense which the Pakistanis keep spouting of, their hospitality, etc., etc. That's all nonsense because, look, the danger is not just from these terrorists. These are, of course, a danger. The danger is also from Pakistani security personnel because very often we've seen in Pakistan that there is no personnel reliability program which will actually ferret out the fanatics from the more normal people. In fact, one of the criteria for becoming part of the Pakistani security forces is that you have to be a fanatic and you have to be an anti-Hindu, anti-India kind of a person. You can see that in everything they say and everything they do. These are the men in uniform, whether khaki or the blue uniforms with their corps wear. So and we've seen enough incidences where these radicalized characters have actually targeted the people they were supposed to protect. So clearly there was a danger, clear and present danger. But look, again, this. Can you tell me where Hafiz Saeed is? He's supposed to be in jail and the keys is supposed to have been thrown away. But do you know where he is? He's living comfortably in a very well-appointed house in a very tony locality of Lahore. Now, when a dreaded terrorist is given the status of an honored guest and an honored, citizen, then do you really think that the Indian team would be safe going into a place like this? And even if it was safe, even if all the fail-safe guarantees were given to an Indian team, do you think, at least I don't think so, and I'm asking this rhetorically, do you think India should actually play cricket with a country like this or even partake in any event which happens in a country like this? So I'm quite happy with the decision which the Ministry of External Affairs and Government of India has taken, telling the BCCI not to go out there. And also, remember that other provocation which has come from the Pakistanis, where they're very, cleverly, very cunningly, low cunning, which, they are so famous for, decided that they will take the Champions Trophy and tour it in parts of PoK. How is that not bringing politics into cricket? India not going is bringing politics into cricket, but Pakistan is, trying to surreptitiously plug their claim on an occupied territory occupied by them is not politics, in bringing politics in cricket. So clearly, I think, this whole charade that has been there of, trying to kiss and make up with the Pakistanis, making gestures to them, I think it's entirely pointless. And frankly, I'm happy that this is actually investigative journalism.
Yeah.
Not a handout which is often given to people who publish it in these newspapers in India. This is actual investigative journalism, that you get a lead, you follow it up, you carry out your own, investigations, you use modern technology, and you narrow it down and you nail these guys and the games the Pakistanis are playing. So congratulations to both your journalists and to your channel for coming out with a story like this.
I'm glad you said that, Sushant. And yes, Ankit and Arvind have worked very hard using, available technology to actually narrow this down, follow up those leads, and confirm with 100% degree of accuracy that this man is indeed Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi. Stay with me, Sushant. I'm going to come back to you. The breaking news that we can confirm to you now, indicative of what the Indian government had decided. Let's just play that breaking news for our viewers now. The India versus Pakistan Champions Trophy showdown has escalated. India's intelligence agencies have issued a terror dossier, a fresh terror dossier to support their decision not to send the Indian cricket team to the Champions Trophy hosted by Pakistan. India says no to playing cricket in Pakistan. The dossier is a comprehensive report. We have a copy with us on terror activities originating from Pakistani soil, outlining numerous attacks carried out by groups that are actively backed by the Pakistan government over the last many years. Evidence within this dossier points to direct involvement and logistical support provided by Pakistan-based terror organizations. According to these reports accessed by India Today, the International Cricket Council, or ICC, has officially requested a written explanation from the BCCI regarding its decision. The request, reported by Pakistan's Geo News, highlights the broader implications for global cricketing events and potential disruptions to the sport's international calendar. But remember that what India Today has broken now, Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi, 2611 mastermind, living life king size in the cricket venue cities, more than vindicates and validates India's decision. Indian cricketers and officials have voiced unanimous support for the BCCI stance, emphasizing that player safety remains paramount. And in the shadow, in the wake of India Today's investigation by Ankit Kumar and Arvind Ojha, all those debates simply evaporate. I want to bring in the India Today Group sports editor, Vikrant Gupta, also our defense editor, Shivani Sharma, in on this. Vikrant, quickly to you first. The dossier that the Indian government has submitted to the ICC more than details the reasons why, not sending the Indian cricket team was the only sensible decision. What do you think of that, Vikrant?
True. And Shiv, there was no other option as well. I think Pakistan were naive in thinking that the Indians would travel there. And I would say that the Indians led them into believing last year, when the Asia Cup was conducted in hybrid fashion and the Pakistan team did come to India for the World Cup. I think they believe that the Indians will travel to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy. But there hasn't been any change in stance. Secondly, the dossier is dangerous not just for the Indians, but I think there are a few other cricket boards now, Shiv, who would not be very keen in going to Pakistan. So Pakistan now has very limited options. I mean, the hybrid was suggested to them, where India play their games in Dubai. But now that the Pakistan government has jumped in and they are saying that it's all or nothing, which means that the Champions Trophy has to be held in Pakistan only, may actually take away the hosting rights from them. Because, see, no chance of India traveling to Pakistan. There also would be a few other teams who might take a back stage. See, traveling for the bilateral is different. And any threat perception for the Australians or for the English will be different to the high potential targets that is the Indian cricket team. So Pakistan now has to step down. They have to say, okay, we'll take the hybrid model. We remain the host. Now, since the Pakistan government has gone on and done this cunning act, as Sushant said, taking the Champions Trophy tour to PoK cities, and with the BCCI Secretary Jay Shah condemning it, speaking to the ICC, asking the ICC how could the PCB unilaterally release the tour, because this was supposed to be released by the ICC with different cities. Now that the BCCI has jumped in and the ICC has spoken to the PCB, what can happen is, Shiv, if Pakistan remain adamant on hosting the Champions Trophy only in Pakistan, they stand to lose out on the hosting rights as well. Imagine Pakistan saying, okay, we pull out. The Indians would say, okay, then we'll hold the Champions Trophy. I know the India-Pakistan game is a piece of cake. The broadcaster would also not want the India-Pakistan game or the games in future to be cancelled. But the BCCI may just have an ace up their sleeve. What if they compensate the broadcaster? What if they compensate the ICC members? And then that old tale of share aa gaya, and finally when the share comes and Pakistan realized that their importance in world cricket was only because of India. I mean, if they think that they're legends, they were legends by association. It wasn't the Pakistan cricket team, it was the India-Pakistan game. What if there's one ICC event which goes on without Pakistan, which may not be 100% success, but even if it is a 90% success, that can pave the road for the future, which will be very clear for India, and it will be a dark road for the Pakistanis.
Vikrant, very, very quickly, I wanted to ask you specifically about this investigative news break by Ankit Kumar and Arvind Ojha, where they have confirmed the presence of 26/11 terror attack mastermind Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi living life king size in Lahore and Rawalpindi. He's been captured on camera living a free life. Not only does this validate India's stand not to send India's cricketers, but would this be something that the BCCI would also perhaps take into account as it builds its case with the ICC going forward?
Shiv, I can confirm to you right now, as we speak, the ICC and the BCCI is closely watching India today, and they are also closely watching Arsenal. So this will be one more leaf in that dossier. And like I said, so far it had been India or the Indian players or the Indian cricket team who would talk about their security. Tomorrow, with this new disclosure, could be a couple of other teams as well. Remember, the New Zealand cricket team 2 years ago, just on the basis of one email, abandoned their tour and went back to New Zealand.
Incredible. And I certainly hope that the teams that are contemplating taking a back seat and dodging this particular trophy, this tournament in Pakistan, follow through with that decision, because it doesn't get more explicit than this. Vikrant, thank you so much for that very, very interesting and very important input. The BCCI is watching India Today's investigation very closely, and what we've just reported to you becomes another leaf in that book. Sushant, Ankit and Arvind continue to stay with me. Before I go back to them, our defense editor Shivani Sharma, who brought us that dossier, is also live with me. Shivani, when it comes to India and Pakistan, the word dossier is almost meaningless. Pakistan has never acted on any dossier, not a single one, and most certainly not as far as 26/11 is concerned. But this dossier impacts them directly, because there will be, a fallout. The ICC is looking very closely at Pakistan. There is pressure now on Pakistan for the first time, perhaps, thanks to an Indian dossier.
Shiv, the investigative report of India Today and this dossier is certainly going to hit Pakistan very hard, because it has invited more trouble. Nobody is surprised to see how it has been involved in harboring these terror acts against India over decades now. And this fresh dossier has brought a comprehensive evidence of how Pakistan has been not only trying to push terrorists inside Indian boundaries, but they have been planning, living in Pakistan for years. They have been comfortably living there, planning terror attacks against India. And this particular dossier also shows how when these terrorists have been neutralized by the forces in India, there are majlis prayers that have been organized in Pakistan for them. And these attacks are very much evident, and they show how India's decision not to send our cricketers to Pakistan remains very valid. And there's no question of sending the cricket team to Pakistan, because not only Lakhvi, but a number of other terrorists are roaming freely inside Pakistan.
Very true.
The decision of India's BCCI cannot be challenged at all. In fact, the dossier now, which the BCCI will be sharing with ICC, might invite more trouble as more and more countries can back out from this tournament.
Very, very true. Shivani, thanks very much for that input. I want our viewers to look very closely at these images of Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi while I bring Sushant back in. Sushant, you've just heard from both Vikrant and Shivani, who cover sports and defense for us. And they say that there could be a real impact on Pakistan, financial or otherwise. How are you seeing this? Do you think, the strength of this dossier? One is always skeptical when it comes to dossiers, especially pertaining to Pakistan. But this dossier, this news break, the fact that there has already been a precedence as far as attacks on cricket teams in the past is concerned, do you think some real impact could be there this time, Sushant?
Yeah, I think so, because look, here is the thing. I think Vikrant was also talking about it. The threat perception of the Indian cricket team is far higher, far greater than that of the British or the Australian or, any other team.
Yeah.
Right? Secondly, our intelligence in as far as Pakistan is concerned is also far superior than what the British or the Australian or New Zealanders or any of the other countries have. So clearly we know what we are talking about. It's not just that, it's only politics and, we are trying to rub the Pakistani nose in the dust, even though that's very satisfying. But this is not just about that. It is about a very clear and real threat perception which exists on the ground. So I think that is something which even the other boards will want to take seriously. Number 3 is the economic aspect of it. Vikrant was talking about, and I agree, up to an extent, that the India-Pakistan match is the biggest thing to happen in cricket. All right. But imagine a situation, if India and Sri Lanka, for example, are playing in a World Cup final. Do you think the viewership or the ad revenue is going to be any less than if it was an India-Pakistan match in a semi-final or even a league stage? I would imagine that, as the Indian team moves up the ladder in any tournament, the ad revenue is going to go up. And I don't see, maybe at the margins, it will make some difference to advertising revenue. But I'm skeptical if it will make any substantial dent in the revenue. On the other hand, if India doesn't go, then the tournament is a failure anyways. It's like PSL, which means nothing to nobody. They don't even pay the players who come and play for them. They don't even have the foreign exchange to pay those players. There are outstandings for 2 to 3 years. So, everybody knows what the Pakistan board is all about. Everybody knows how prepared or ill-prepared they are. So, I don't see any financial angle really affecting ICC if the tournament is moved out or if the India-Pakistan match doesn't take place or even if the Pakistanis drop out. It makes very little difference to anybody. In fact, Sri Lanka can come in as the 8th team and Pakistan can go wherever they want to go. So I personally think the government of India and the BCCI would be taking a right decision. Because God forbid something was to happen in Pakistan. I don't think the world is a small place for anybody in India to hide after that. And clearly, I don't think anybody would want to take that risk insofar as Pakistan is concerned.
And the images that we've just shown make this even more of a risk. It's this particular terrorist is not even in some obscure rural outpost or safe house. He's in a public event that's being broadcast and amplified on social media. You've got influencers and celebrities interacting with him. It's almost like it has been intended that this man be spotted, except that he's there under a different name. Before I conclude this particular segment, I just wanted to quickly tell our viewers that I had a slip up while I was anchoring this. I said Mufti Mohammad Saeed instead of Hafiz Mohammad Saeed. My profound apologies for that. It was a slip during live anchoring. Mufti Mohammad Saeed was a very well-respected Indian politician. Obviously, I meant Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, who is a dreaded terrorist. So my heartfelt apologies for that honest mistake while live anchoring. Well, now India's decision to abstain from sending its cricket team to the Champions Trophy in Pakistan stands resoundingly validated. And if you've just watched our broadcast, I'm sure most, if not all of you viewers agree. In the wake of the investigation you've just seen our team here at India Today TV do, the investigation has revealed that Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi, the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, is freely moving about in Pakistani cities like Rawalpindi and Lahore, two cities that would have hosted cricket matches involving Indian players had India agreed to participate in this dangerous tournament. This explosive revelation slaps the wind out of Pakistan's claims of providing a safe environment for visiting teams, exposing the clear and present state-sponsored terror threat to Indian players and underscoring India's prudence in prioritizing the safety of its cricketers. Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi's presence in the open is not only alarming, but also signals a deliberate free pass, if not protection, to terror elements within Pakistan. A high-profile individual like Lakhvi, who has been sanctioned internationally for his role in terrorism, including at the United Nations, being visible in public, underscores Pakistan's total unwillingness to crack down on terrorists of its own making. Many Aman Ki Asha idealists have been advocating that India should show a big heart, that sports shouldn't be mixed with diplomacy and politics, or that India is the bigger nation and must show greater generosity of spirit in meeting Pakistan halfway. I wonder what those people would say right now watching the images of 26/11 mastermind Zakiur Rehman Lakhvi living life king size, not in some obscure rural safe house or outpost, but in Pakistan's biggest cities that will host Champions Trophy cricket matches. The mere possibility of Indian cricketers being within reach of known terrorists like Lakhvi creates a scenario where one misstep could lead to a total nightmare situation. Ask the Sri Lankan cricket team, whose bus came under attack by terrorists of Pakistan's Lashkar-e-Jhangvi in 2009. Here are images from that attack, right outside the famous Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. In my view, this India Today newsbreak also casts doubt on the International Cricket Council's decision to assign Pakistan as a venue. With such high-profile terrorists free to operate in broad daylight, the ICC's risk assessment procedures might need re-evaluation, especially in state sponsors of terrorism like Pakistan. This oversight endangers not just the Indian team, but other international teams traveling to Pakistan, who should, in my view, definitely reconsider their participation in light of what we've just uncovered here at India Today TV. In sum, India's decision reflects a prudent, precautionary approach to safeguarding its cricketers from potential threats that have proven to be alarmingly real. The sighting of Lakhvi, a symbol of unchecked terrorism, roaming freely in Pakistan, confirms the validity of India's concerns and serves as a wake-up call for international sports authorities on the security front. If you, like me, are in the national capital region, then you're breathing poison right now. As I bring you this broadcast, I've spent the day on the outside breathing literally poisonous air. All of the national capital region right now is breathing air that no human should have to breathe. Air quality levels have dipped to the severe category, and widespread alarm is rising over the impact of this pollution. The AQI, or Air Quality Index, has been in the severe and severe plus categories continuously for nearly 48 hours now. The Delhi government has now escalated pollution controls to the GRAP 3 level, which is pretty much meaningless to common citizens, because citizens are wondering why these protocols even exist if the pollution is this way every single year. Well, the GRAP 3 protocols, of course, include shutting primary schools until the class 5 level, banning the entry of commercial vehicles temporarily into the NCR, a complete halt of construction and demolition activities that produce dust, a stop on non-essential mining activities around Delhi, and increased sprinkling of water on major roads. In other words, as always, the NCR is reacting to a crisis of death and destruction on human life. And it isn't just Delhi NCR. Thick smog has been observed in Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, where high-rise buildings are barely visible. Basically, this stretches all across North India as we speak.
Because of the moisture in the air, also the meteorological condition, because of the extremely, we see now the winter is approaching in, and the moisture and the pollutant have settled in the atmosphere, and that's really having few reasons that we see for last few days. The AQI remains in a severe or at least in a very poor zone. So clearly there is no respite, and resulted to that as the Delhi government has shut down the schools, the primary schools, and so has been done by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, where the students, the kids will be given online classes. So the physical classes have been closed in Delhi. Now there will be online classes, and clearly the region you see right behind me at India Gate, where the haze, it's fog, smoke, and all is making a smog, thick layer of smog in the national capital and perhaps across national capital region in the Delhi and NCR. At India Gate, with Manish Viduri, I'm Ashutosh Mishra.
How many levels of failure have resulted in 2024 once again being a year of absolutely unacceptable pollution levels in the national capital region? Let me do some naming and shaming, and we will be very specific here. Number one, what did the AAP government that controls Delhi fail to do? Number one, no Delhi-specific area plan. Can you believe it? There's no area-specific plan for Delhi. No plan for pollution hotspots, despite that being a recommendation. Promote public transport to control vehicular pollution, not happening. Dust control methods which are in place have been poorly or selectively implemented. The control on construction waste disposal is simply not happening to an adequate degree. That's the reason why you're seeing this huge spike in pollution levels. 2/3 of central government funds currently stand unused. This stands at the central government's door. Then you've got what the centre failed to do. What did the centre fail? We've told you what the Aam Aadmi Party government failed to do. What about the centre? What about the BJP government at the centre? Form a regional plan to curb pollution. It has talked about it, failed to do so. Bring UP, Punjab and Haryana stakeholders together. Also Madhya Pradesh, one of the biggest offenders this year, BJP controlled, didn't happen. Direct the Delhi police to implement control measures, hasn't happened to an adequate degree. Cracker ban failed due to Delhi police indifference. Even though there was a cracker ban, nobody really followed it at all. No solid plan for solid waste management. You've seen what's been happening even in the Yamuna. The Delhi Development Authority has failed to provide alternate sites for any kind of waste. So you have a situation now where with each year that rolls by, we're stuck and relegated to conducting shows of this kind where we simply have to list who is to blame and then accept that perhaps nothing's going to change the following year as well. There's much more to this story that we will continue to bring you as the cloud over the national capital region only thickens and gets more poisonous.